Welcome to Artistic Adventures. Today we're going to be doing a face-up on the ball jointed doll that I recently purchased, and I have a video about her. She's my very first resin ball jointed doll. So let's get started. I have to say I've never done a face-up on a resin doll. I'm not going to lie to you. I've done a lot on the plastic dolls, but not on resin. So this will be new for me and maybe for some of you. So I did prepare her face the same way. I put 3 coats of the Liquitex Matte Varnish that I watered down just a little bit and applied with my airbrush. And now I'm using just plain acrylic paint to put a dark lid line on the top of her lid because she's going to have false lashes. So I want to put a dark line up there for her lash line. And then the bottom line, I'm putting pink in first for the waterline on the wide part of the eye. And then under that, I am putting just a little bit of a dark brown. So the thing I'm noticing first about this is that colored pencils, for me, are not working as well on the resin as they do on the plastic dolls. And the pastels are working much better, actually. So I'm going to be using, I guess, more pastels than anything. Right now I'm just shading around her eyes, starting on the bottom lid and then also on the top lid with some browns. I'm using a couple of different colors of browns and shading those areas, both upper and lower. And then I'm also using some pastel red in her lips, and I'm just going to be building up the color. I'm using a little pastel pink on her cheeks and in her ears to blush the ears. Basically with these dolls, the same as the plastic dolls, is you have this sort of uh, canvas, a really blank face with no contour, no color, and what you're doing as a face-up artist is to add those contours and colors back in a way that complements the sculpture of the doll. Um, for this particular doll, she has a very long pointed nose. So, shading on the sides of the nose, I will do some of that, but it's not necessary to make the nose look thinner. This doll has a really pointy long nose. Um, with the mouth, I did try putting some watercolor pencil into the crease, but I didn't like it, so I took it off. Now, I want to slow this down a little bit and show you. I'm sorry, I got a little bit out of frame what I'm trying to show you, but if you line up something with the side of the nose and the corner of the eye, that's where the eyebrow would start. Then also from the corner of the nose, if you line it up across the pupil, the middle of the pupil, that's where the arch would start. And then if you line it up with the corner of the eye, that's where the eyebrow should end. And I know some people say they have trouble with eyebrows. I hope that helps a little bit. Uh, you still have to decide, how far up you want to put them or how low. But if you're just doing a natural eyebrow with no real expression, that's basically how they should look. Now I started with some pastel to put down some color, and now I'm just putting really short marks with a watercolor pencil over that to make it look like hairs. And I used a light colored brown and a dark colored brown. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do costume wise with this doll. I do have a brown wig, but I'm not even sure that's what she's going to end up with. I still have to decide about that. Maybe you guys have some suggestions you want to leave in the comment box about how we could costume this doll. Remember, she's the 1/3 doll, so she's pretty tall. All right, I'm still putting some colors in. I did put another layer of matte medium down with the airbrush and then just continuing to put down color. Right now, I'm doing some shading. I'm using some brown pastel, lightly shading around the top and sides of the face just to give it some contour. And also under the chin and the jawline. It's not real easy to see on the video, but if you see it up close, you can tell. But it just gives it a little bit of dimension, 3D dimension to the face. And I did put a little bit of shading under the nose down to the Cupid's bow. And now I'm putting a little bit of blue in the corners of the eyes. My camera stopped there for a minute. So just some light blue. Most people have some of that sort of blue shading on either side of their nose. So I'm just popping that in, and I did take my cuticle stick and get rid of some of that pencil mark in the crease of the lips, and then I put some white streaks in, vertical white streaks, so it would look more like natural lips. And now I'm just sort of doing some touch up with some white. I put a little bit of white on the brow line, on the bridge of the nose, and down the front of the nose, and putting a little darker color inside the nostrils. So that looks a little bit more natural. I did put some shading on either side of the nostrils too. Some of the brown, the same brown that I put around the eyes. And I'm just using black to make some little tiny, tiny eyelashes on the bottom. We're going to use false eyelashes on the top, but we want to have a little bit of lash on the bottom as well. You want to make sure your pencil is really, really sharp, and be very careful with your strokes, because uh, the way this doll's eyes are curved, like you start making the stroke and then it just drops off and your pencil just makes a really long mark. So I had to be really careful with that. And just doing a few more finishing touches. Working on those lips. I really didn't like the pencil in the lips, so I had to go back, and then when I removed it, it got some pink on the face, so I had to get rid of that. So this has been an experience working on the resin as opposed to regular plastic. And I don't know why I had the head up on that pencil sharpener there for a minute. So anyway, there's where we are right now. Gonna put some spray some matte varnish on her to protect her head, and then uh, now that that's done, I'm going to be putting the eyelashes on. So they give you this long strip of doll eyelash, and you just have to cut a couple of pieces to put down in there. So what I'm going to do is take some A6000 and, using a tool to be a little bit more careful about it, and just put it on the underside of that lid, and then stick the lashes onto the underside of the lid. And that went pretty easier than I thought it would. So now we have our lashes on, and I let that dry. And now we're going to put the eyes in. She came with blue eyes and a little bit of the eye putty, although actually it's way more than I needed. What you want to do is just roll out a piece of this and a little rope and put it around the eye, and then you can stick it in, and that's what it looks like on the inside. Just press the clay down to hold it into place, and then you can change the eyes out if you want to later. Just pull the putty out. And there's a little protrusion on the back of the eye that helps you when you're sticking it in there to rotate it until you get it into the position that you want it in. And then once you have that, she has a magnetic closure to her head, so it's really easy to put the head back on. I put a brown wig on her just briefly so you could kind of see how she would look with the brown wig, and really think, with the way I did her color, she'd look good with any hair. I am going to put some gloss varnish on her lips, and that's pretty much the finished look. Now I have to decide how we're going to dress her. I'm going to let you see her again without the hair. That's the finished look. And that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I've got a new project coming up. I've decided I'm going to take a Monster High doll and turn it into Bellatrix Lestrange from the Harry Potter movies. That ought to be fun. So subscribe and don't miss a thing. Thanks. Bye.